Hi, welcome back to Quarter Life Conversations. If you're new here or you've been following us for a while, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us a like and a subscribe if you find value in the conversation that we're gonna have. Yeah, thank you. And let's get into it.
Yeah.
This episode, I want to talk about or kind of critique maybe self-help podcasts slash
Yeah.
productivity gurus, and also like the whole self-help industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think this is also a good, I guess, critical reflection of our own core life conversations, what we're trying to do with this podcast.
Yeah.
So I think this would be quite interesting. And this video was inspired basically by this other video that I watched called Diary of a CEO is Making You Less Successful.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend you guys to check it out as well. And yeah, he was just really like breaking down kind of the strategies that the self-help industry uses and some of its pitfalls that we don't necessarily clock right away.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to know a bit of your thoughts. So I think we're quite similar. Like I think we both sort of started the self-help journey like after high school or like during high school.
Yeah.
And I've always thought it was like very like empowering, like very educational.
Yeah.
But it was only recently that I've started to see that, oh, actually there is kind of a dark side, or there is kind of a bit of some caveats and some nuances here and there. So I kind of want to throw the ball to you. Like,
yeah.
Have you ever noticed or thought about the potential downsides of, self-help and this industry as a whole?
Yeah. I guess for me, like, with self-help, it's always been, for the most part, it's pretty much been a positive ride, because I think I've always viewed it in the sense of just learning new perspectives, tips, whatever it may be, to improve my life. And I've always viewed it in the sense that you can extract what is useful and kind of discard what is not. There are certain exceptions to this, and I'm sure we can go into where I've made the mistake of thinking that what I've consumed has to be the truth.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I would say that my relationship with self-help content has been healthy. I think for me, the only kind of, I guess, hurdle that I've overcome with time is the ability to learn these lessons that are taught in these spaces, and then actually go out into the world and fail to try to carry them out in my life and still have a positive self-image and understand it's a process. Because a lot of these, I've noticed at least, these spaces, they teach the lesson, right? But then they don't really touch on the reality of the lesson, which is that it's a learned behavior, it's a learned mindset shift, and it takes time to kind of implement. And you'll never be perfect. There'll be days that you go out, or at least for myself, that I go out and I'm still like anxious in a certain like social setting, or I find myself overthinking a comment one of my friends said, and it's like I know the overall principles that would be beneficial to my life taught or that I've learned from these spaces. And yeah, I still fall into those traps sometimes, and it's being able to pick yourself back up and just keep going on and have a positive, healthy relationship with self-help, rather than it having to be perfect now that you've learned this technique or whatever. It has to be perfect all the time. That's the one kind of pitfall that I've kind of experienced and tried to kind of overcome in my life. But I guess, yeah, I'm curious what pitfalls you have seen or experienced with this space.
So, and also just to like touch on yours, so is it like realizing that the lessons extracted from self-help is not like, you don't see the immediate effects, or like you having to actually go out and do these things and actually try and fail, and also to test whether or not it works? Is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, for sure. It's a process, right? So you consume this kind of content, and I guess a lot of, sometimes people may think that, oh, it's like a instant fix, but it is a process. And like I said, like changing your behavior, changing your mindset, especially for things that you've operate in a specific way for a long period of time, it takes time, and you're not going to be perfect all the time, and there'll be times you slip up. And so it's really about just having a positive relationship with those moments that you slip up, and yeah, get back onto the bandwagon, get back onto the wagon, or yeah, whatever. But yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of, yeah. But what other, like, I'm curious to know what other pitfalls you see, because I think you're slightly more critical now in terms of self-help, right? If that's
I
not
think,
wrong.
yeah, so I think this isn't necessarily like a critique or a pitfall of self-help, but I think, or I guess maybe it is, but one thing I noticed, at least for me, is that I think sometimes self-help presents itself as like this formula or like this linear way of success.
Yeah.
And I guess like, and yeah, maybe presenting it like very simply,
Yeah.
like, you know, do this, and this is like the way to be successful in certain areas. And I think for me it was like thinking that this is all up to me, or like this is how it has to be.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes like I would try to follow these specific strategies, and if I don't do it, like, or if I like slip up, or if I like mess up, then I'll feel really bad, because like,
Yeah.
I'd feel like I don't know, like I'm messing up my life in a way.
Yeah,
And
because a lot of these, like, I guess gurus or whatever, they do present, they're confident speakers, is why their message gets pushed out, right, a lot, and adopted. But then there is like a little bit of a like a potential pitfall where if they are such good speakers, and they're coming across well, and eloquently, there is a bias, I guess, towards listening to that kind of stuff, and over allocating trust or reputation or credibility with these figures who speak very eloquently, right?
yeah,
Whereas, like, critically thinking about really the foundational logic behind what they're saying is very crucial, right?
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, because like you're saying, like, when they speak so well and so confidently and charismatically, like, it can seem like that's the one way of approaching a problem or a relationship. But like, in reality, there's multiple ways, and what they're saying might actually not be accurate. So you have to kind of be able to yeah, like we were saying, extract what's valuable, and let go of what's not.
Yeah, and I guess like building upon that, like, so this is one of the points that the video touched on. So it's the idea that, yeah, these podcasts, like they like to invite these experts, right?
Yeah.
And these experts are, they, yeah, you're right, they speak really confidently.
Yeah.
And but he was trying to show that actually these people that are these experts and they're really confident, actually in a way they might be least qualified to tell us what's the best actionable steps to take for us. So he was talking about this study where these like this in this study, like they characterize different people into foxes and hedgehogs, right?
Yeah.
So hedgehogs are basically people that they have like one central vision, or they have this one grand thesis of how the world works, or like this formulaic approach to success or whatever. Whereas like foxes are more like they're more like uncertain, and they're like more like nuanced. They're like, you could do this as well, but you could also do this, or it might not work as well.
Yeah.
And they tried to test these different people on their ability to predict the future, and then after 20 years, look back at what they predicted and see how accurate they were. And actually, the people that are more confident and the people that had more, that really believed what they thought would come true, actually did worse than those who were like more uncertain and like more wishy-washy, and they actually were able to predict better.
That's interesting. Okay.
So then, and it's also like the, I think it's called the Dunner-Kruger effect, where yeah, like people that speak the most confidently and the most most confidently are actually usually the ones that are least knowledgeable about this subject. So it's a really interesting phenomenon. And so, like, what do you think about like hearing that? Like, if these are the people, and these are the people that these podcasts book because like they're more clickable, right? They're more confident, like, and they present the world in a more simpler, digestible way, right? So then you can see in Diary of a CEO, it's always like these experts, and they're telling you like do this and this will happen. But then in reality, based on this study, they're actually less likely to be correct in saying like this is what will happen
if they're very fixed in their way.
Yeah,
I guess that's, and this ties into Diary of a CEO because like like you said, they bring in a lot of like very established guests or people they got credibility in their fields and they speak from a place of confidence, right? So and a lot of people take that at face value, which I don't think is necessarily a problem, because I think there can be a balance between the two, because I think credibility and reputation and experience and like as you've talked about before, career capital, I do think that amounts to a pot of knowledge and wisdom which people can extract wisdom from, for sure. But I do think that it has, so in terms of confidently communicating that has to be a given, right? If you want to communicate a message. But I think the key balance though is to acknowledge the other side as well, because I think a lot of these people that come on Diary of a CEO or these podcasts, they're coming from a well-established reputation, a reputable position. They've built up the experience. They have wisdom, right? So they do have value in what they're saying. So that's why people watch, and there is value to be extracted. But sometimes they can come across in a way where it's like what they're saying is the only way of thinking about these things.
Yeah, right? They almost like speak in absolutes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the best speakers or self-help gurus or whatever that I've consumed content from are the ones that acknowledge that this is how I've experienced growth. This is how I've experienced success. There are multiple paths, and this might not actually directly apply to you. So it's all about taking the wisdom that I have and trying to run it through your own filters and see if it applies to your life. And if they're confident in their message and they're also confident in the fact that their way it doesn't have to be the only way, I find that that's actually the best message, because like it's the most relatable, it's the most actually usable. And I think that the confidence and charismatic speech thing is very interesting, because there was a time where a lot of these content creators, like very right-wing, like conservative guys, like in the manosphere, right, which we will touch on in later episodes, but they were all over our feeds, right? And I'm not even gonna lie, like,
did you kind of get into it or what?
Yeah, that's what I'm like okay. I'm not even gonna lie, like I got influenced, because it was just the I guess the assertiveness or the confidence in their arguments, that it seemed like it was coming across almost irrefutable. And I was like coming to a place where I was thinking, and at that point I wasn't really developed enough in order to kind of understand that I need to think critically about stuff I was consuming online, right? So I would take that and I would see it as a confident guy, as like he's speaking as if like there's no like reason why what he's saying should be false. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I would actually implement that into relationships I was in. And yeah, sometimes it was to the detriment of them. And so I think for sure, like, then that was of course a learning that with self-help, with all these gurus, they're just people, right? And with everyone there's I view that with everyone you can learn something from their life experience, their wisdom, their knowledge. Like, there is something to be learned from everyone. But whenever you extract something from someone else's life and apply it to your life, it has to run through a filter of whether you see it as actually going to be valuable and applicable to your life before you just directly take it.
Yeah, and I think like a key thread that you're kind of weaving throughout this is like, like self-help is not necessarily bad, sort of like take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But then also like actually try and test it out. Because that's the only way you're actually gonna know if they are like right or not. Right. In a way, like test it out. But yeah, but also like, yeah, the confidence thing, like I don't know, I think it's Aristotle that said this, right? But like he said, it might not be Aristotle, dude. I'm sorry, but somebody famous back in the day said like, the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah.
Also, I'm paraphrasing. Right? Like the beginning of wisdom is when you realize you're not wise enough, or like
okay.
you only realize, so something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I think like anybody, not even just like these self-help gurus or whatever, like, but anybody that's so confident in their worldview, I think it's a bit of a, I think that should raise a little bit of a red flag though.
Yeah.
Like, because, yeah, I think the world is more nuanced, right?
You
like,
have to be able to understand that uncertainty and that like, like your potential, the potential that you could be wrong, right?
Yeah. And I think like this even applies to perhaps like religious fundamentalists, like maybe even like Christians, like us as Christians, like to like, it's not necessarily wrong to have like a worldview, but then I think it's okay for things that are difficult to understand, or maybe like in a way outside of your worldview, and for that to for you to not need to have to fix or have it connect everything to that worldview, to have like that nuance, and also to want to explore different points of views. I think like I think that's something I really try to like live by, is like as a Christian now, like I mean, it wasn't like an easy decision to like convert, right? And like I went through a lot of my own like,
because you weren't raised in a Christian family, right?
So it wasn't like I had to do my own research. But then even now, like I don't like the idea of like being in my just only talking to Christians, or just like being in this echo chamber. And I still really like to talk to people of different faiths, or people that don't believe as well. But also it's interesting because the idea of having this like dominant like worldview is also, this also applies not just to religious people, right? But also it also applies to atheism. Like that itself could be your dominating worldview as well. So I think it's interesting to remind ourselves that like to not be so like sure, I think, in a way, not to be so sure, and like to speak in complete absolutes. I think that would be interesting. And also I think he also touched on survivorship bias. He gave this example of like in Germany, like they were studying like the bomber planes that came back, right? And they looked at the wings of the planes, and they saw like where all the where the bullet holes were. And so they looked at that and they're like, okay, so to make our planes better, we should reinforce the areas that have the most bullet holes, right? But then that was actually a flaw in thinking, because they didn't take into account that actually the planes that didn't make it back home weren't shot in those areas. So actually they should have been reinforcing the areas that didn't have bullet holes, if you get what I'm saying. And so he was trying to link this to this idea of like podcasts bringing in a lot of experts and stuff. And we're seeing the success stories, and we're seeing the formulas that these successful people are telling us. And they're saying like, this is what you do, this is what you do. But we're potentially ignoring maybe a larger majority of people that actually have done all those things as well, but still failed. So
interesting.
So there could be potentially people that have, I don't know, woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They've like they have implemented like good habits and still can't find a job right now, or still haven't made it. And so yeah, that was something interesting that he was talking about. What do you think about that?
I think that's interesting. Yeah, like, but I do I come to this question where it's like, and I think we had this in the outline because like, I think like if the person is living the exact same life as maybe let's say somebody successful who showed up on Diary of a CEO, right?
Yeah.
They lived the exact same life
Yeah.
and they had the exact same habits. They were just in a different person's life.
Yeah.
Do you think they could have an equal amount of like I guess possibility to get to that successful position, or do you think it comes down to luck in terms of success?
Yeah, that's really interesting as well, because like doing this podcast, right? Like, I mean, we sort of, I guess, understand the basic fundamentals, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you push out content consistently, and yeah, eventually the algorithm would reward that kind of like
Yeah.
consistency, right?
Yeah.
But like, and that's kind of the, I guess, the success formula, you could say.
Yeah.
But is that necessarily true? Like, is that, if like if we keep this up, like, are we actually gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Up to you guys.
yeah, up to you guys, please, please. But yeah, but I think that kind of ties into the fact that like self-help, or these people sometimes present these formulas that, yeah, maybe it was like, it might maybe it worked for them in that specific scenario, but
Yeah.
that it doesn't necessarily mean it might work. But there could be also like key principles or learnable things from that, but it may not necessarily apply to every circumstance.
I think
as
this
well.
ties into like a bigger level question, which might be going slightly away from our outcome, but I really want to because I'm genuinely interested to know your opinion on this.
Yeah.
Do you think you can will success into your reality, or do you think it's almost predestined?
Oof. So this is like, so you talking about like manifestation?
Yeah.
Law
Like
of
no,
attract-
like do you yeah, almost like do you think you can work like yeah, like just be so consistent and you can almost like force success into your reality? Or do you think that a second person could do the exact same work but success was just not in the cards for them?
I think this is what I'm trying to get at in terms of like what I think is dangerous about self-help, which is which is that the idea that it's all up to me, or it's all up to the individual.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think you can call it faith, sorry, you can call it fate, you can call it like luck, or you can call it God's will. But I think there is something beyond your control. It's not just your will that's at play.
Okay.
I think there's a, and I think that's the illusion of self-help, is that it says you are in control. Like, just do this. Look at me. I'm successful. I did this. You can do this too. Doesn't matter what your circumstance is. If you do this, it's your personal responsibility, or it's your personal failure if you can't achieve this, because you just haven't done this enough, for example.
Yeah.
But I think it's much more I think it's much more nuanced. Like, I don't think it's that cut and dry. Like, okay, if I will it, then it will happen.
But I just want to break down that one specific vertical because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
In terms of career and success, do you think like people who got famous in terms of singers, or like who reached the upper echelons in their careers, right?
I noticed you really like the word echelon.
Yeah, I love that.
And vertical and frameworks.
That's so true. But yeah, with these people, do you think they were predestined to be that great, or do you think they willed their success into their reality through consistency and resilience?
I mean, I'll speak from my belief.
Yeah.
Is that they definitely did something. Like, they definitely put in their hard work.
Yeah.
But I think what I believe is that if it was not God's intention for them to reach that success, no matter what they did, they would not achieve it.
Yeah.
But if they could have done all the wrong things, all the things that self-help says like you shouldn't do, But if it's God's intention for you to get that job to be successful, I think it will happen. And I think that's liberating and intimidating for our modern culture, because I think partly it's because we want to feel like we have control over our trajectory, our career, or our life,
which is what self-help is about, right? Having control.
And so that's why I think it's so interesting, because it's like self-help on the one hand is empowering, because it is saying like you can make a difference, and I think you can, but at the same time, I think if it's taken too far, it becomes like I think it becomes misleading, where it's all up to you. Then I don't think that's true, and I think that's kind of where I was trying to tie in with like how I felt about it in the beginning, or like if I don't wake up early enough in the morning, it's like this is my own personal failure, because like if I did do that, then maybe I will become successful. It's weird. Like I know that sounds like stupid, but I think it's that underlying message of like it's your personal responsibility,
it's all on you,
or your failure.
Yeah, I get what
you're saying. And I think sometimes, and I have taken it to that extreme where I would feel like a failure for not doing all the right things. But I don't think it's all up to us. And this is a really interesting anecdote by Tim Keller. He was talking about how, okay, you think it's about your skill or your talent, but then he was saying like that's not really true though, because let's say you have this skill and you have this talent, but what if you were born in 12th century in the mountaintops of Nepal? would you achieve that same success? No. Like it's I think it's not all up to you. I think and let me tie into also one of the points that the video also made was that according to this study by sociologist Duncan Watts, success is highly random. And he basically they did this experiment where they had a bunch of songs by different artists, and they grouped there were 7 groups of people that would come on this platform, and they would rate like what they think is the top songs and stuff. So one group I think had no interaction with the other group, so they were just purely ranking it by themselves. And then like I think the other groups like could see what other people ranked and stuff like that. So you would expect that if there were some artists that were more talented, more skilled, that they should, in theory, at least be consistently higher, right, than the other artists. But what they found was there was no correlation at all, and all the groups ranked the artists completely differently. So one artist that was maybe like number 1 for one group was like all the way at the bottom for the other group, and it was just all completely random. There was no correlation.
It's subjective like preferences, right? Of people.
But then if you extrapolate that into real life, so this successful person got successful in this way, but maybe in another circumstance or in another alternate universe, let's say, like that he could have done all the same things, and that he could have been a failure. He could have been homeless. And I think so. I think like your quality and your skill. We're not saying that's not important, right? I think that sets a bit of a bar, like a ceiling for you, right? But then I don't know what's like the ratio between skill and luck. But then there is that big factor of luck as well.
I think, bro, this is very interesting because I don't know if my view is slightly different to yours on this, because like how I view it is that my overall relationship, we were talking about self-help, right? I'd say self-help gives you the tools to become closer to getting to the best version of yourself. And I think that for me personally, I believe that if you keep showing up every day, because I don't believe that success is random though. I don't know if I align with that quote, because I think like I've watched a lot of content, and shout out to School of Hard Knocks. It's a channel that's very popular right now. But I watch that stuff religiously, like
Yeah.
where they break down interviews with billionaires, millionaires. They go up to them in street interviews and ask them life lessons and stuff. And I feel like there's once you watch enough of this, you notice that there are common traits. There's consistency, resilience, ability to pivot when you realize one vertical is not working for you.
Yeah.
Risk taking and entrepreneurship, courage. Like all these things are common in all of them, and it makes me think like, this is off my own belief, is that if you keep trying to improve yourself and you keep living your life along these values, and you keep trying to try new stuff and pivoting and showing up consistently and sticking with things, I think for me, I view that and I believe that God rewards hard work, and God rewards people who want to help themselves and who want to show up and like want to improve their lives. They're doing the work to kind of, I believe that if you work, you have to work, at least this is how I view it. You work, and then you earn that one opportunity, which some people see as luck, but you only get to that point by continuous like discipline and resilience and going through the things. And I think like, I do think that at a certain point, that if you do show up with the exact same qualities as people that sit on Diary of a CEO and all these podcasts, they sit down and they say, this is how I live my life. If you replicate that, I do think that maybe it's not in the same vertical as or the same exact way it'll manifest in terms of success as they did. Maybe for your life, there might be a slight pivot or something else, but I do think that you will probably find success, because I think that I do think that there's a few inputs that are common across all of these people. And yeah, luck and chance, that's obviously a factor. I'm not denying that, but I think you can kind of almost like work your way to willing opportunity and chance and luck into your life. That's what I believe, to be honest.
So let's try to break that down. So luck is a factor, right? So there is luck.
So I would almost say that I don't really believe in luck. I believe that luck is just what happens when like an opportunity, like it's the quote, like I believe in I align with that quote where it says like, there's no such thing as luck. Luck is just simply what happens when opportunity meets preparation.
Okay. So there really isn't luck. So you can will what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So
no, don't get me wrong. It's not that there's no external like chance that's up to play. I think, okay, maybe like luck is a bit of a tricky one, because it kind of, for me, it has the correlation that's completely out of your control. I like the word opportunity, because opportunity is like,
it's like a mindset shift.
Yeah, it's like you've earned it. You get what I'm saying? Like you've worked and now you've come across this opportunity by looking. But luck for me, it feels like a little bit like it's like out of your control. Like you had no input on it whatsoever, and it just randomly happened. Which I'm sure there is. I'm not saying luck is not a thing in life, but I think how I view like success and career and stuff, I think it's I think it's more so opportunity shows up.
So are you just more, so is it my understanding that you're not necessarily disagreeing that there are external factors out of your control, but it's just reframing that as an opportunity for you to try to do something about it? But you're not denying the fact that
yeah, I'm not saying that there is no luck. Like there's definitely opportunity situations where somebody maybe was grinding in one career and then a completely lucky thing happened in another one, and then they got blessed with the opportunity and they jumped ship and they succeeded. You know what I'm saying? Like there are those circumstances probably, I think, but I do believe that in most cases with people that are in one career and they stick it through, when they finally get their breakthrough, I don't view that as luck. I view that as they were, all those years they were refining their skill, they were preparing, and then the opportunity finally came and they took it. But a lot of people would just see that one opportunity and be like, oh, they got lucky with that. But they'll not see the hundreds of shows they maybe went on to sing before that, before they finally got to the one that they got famous off of.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
So you're affirming like the benefit of self-help, where like you're liberated to realize that there's actually stuff that you can do about your situation.
100%.
You're not like completely subjected to your external circumstances.
Because like the pitfall with having the opposite extreme view is that if everything,
and either extremes aren't good.
Exactly, because you can think like, oh, if I can do all this but it's still kind of out of my control, then why would I even try at all?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But I guess like for me, it's like I think it's a little bit like it's just a little bit I don't know if liberating is the right word, but yeah, but like the fact that you could potentially be doing all the right things, but it might just not turn out the way you want it to. And for me, it's more just like not to be so hard on yourself, like but that doesn't mean like stop trying. No, keep trying, but it's just that it was never 100% in your control to begin with, but there are things that you can do about it. And so focus on what you can control, but don't worry about, or be at peace knowing that it's also not entirely up to you. I think for me, it's like that, that balance, I think that, which I think is healthier than saying it's all up to me or it's not up to me at all. So, or it's all random. So like these people just got lucky. I think both have their pitfalls.
Yeah.
In a way.
I think that's good though. Like we have a little bit of like be sitting on slightly different sides of the fence with that one.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying as well. So I think it's useful to have like both sides of that.
I'm also interested in terms of like, so you are saying that if you put your mind to it, if you set your mind to it, like you are able to achieve this. I'm wondering how you balance this, because I think I wonder how you balance this with maybe your own Christian faith. Like, how does that relate to, like, the verse that pops up to my mind is when Jesus Christ, he says, and I'm paraphrasing again, bro, but he says, "I'm the true vine, you're the branches. Apart from me, you can't do anything. You can't do nothing." So, and another verse that comes to mind as well is in Proverbs, where it says that I think man plans, but God establishes his steps.
Yeah. I believe those. Like I'm in line with those. So like how I view it is that I think like I gotta do the best I can to improve myself and become a better person. Through religion, through self-help, like all the different mediums. And I think like I need to show up and do the work and do everything that I've learned that success, like implement the traits that successful people have in common into my life and pursue a goal, a task. I think all of those are necessary, but I do think that it's all up to God's will. So I think like I think you keep showing up, and if you're currently in the wrong vertical, maybe that, or the wrong business pursuit or whatever, God will give you the hints or the signs that you need to pivot into something else. Okay. And I think it's so it's overall God's plan. I think for me, I view it as like I have God with me on this journey. I'm with God. He has a greater plan for me. I'm just doing the best I can to show up, because this is like the one business idea I have right now. This is the career idea I have right now. I'm trying to improve and get better. And if I don't get this job, if I don't get this opportunity, if this podcast doesn't take off, like it's part of a greater plan by God. And then I just keep implementing the core values of taught by self-improvement, which is discipline, hard work, consistency, and the next vertical and this stuff. And I truly believe that like that, you will eventually get to the thing that God is intending for your life, and you can find success. So it's not like it's only me or it's only on God. It's like a partnership. It's a relationship. You're walking with God, and you're slowly finding out what He plans for your life. But the only way you can actually find out whether this was what He planned for your life or not was by giving it your all.
If you do it,
and implementing these teachings. That's how I view it. But how do you view it?
I think I view it the way you do. And I think it's interesting because I think sometimes like I don't know if you've thought about it, but I've sometimes thought about this as well. It's like is it like I do 50%, God does 50%, or like what's like the ratio? You know what I'm saying? Like, but actually, I think the reality is that we do 100% and God does 100%. I think it's like we give it the best we can, but then ultimately God works through our actions,
Yeah.
and he brings his plan to fruition. So it's not necessarily like, well, I'll do this, but I think it's what you said, like it's a partnership. You do the best you can, and where that takes you is part of God's plan, I think.
I think we've actually kind of found a very interesting niche here to like almost blend self-help with religion, because a lot of self-help people, like, or spaces, they kind of they uh they isolate it like from religion. They teach it as like one specific thing, but I think the strength in it is like drawing from everything, right? And blending, at least for us, because we are religious, but like blending the religion and the self-help, because I think a lot of religious people suffer, not suffer, a struggle with how to approach self-help, uh with them obviously having religion, right? Because like it's like its own. I think, and I think, at least from what I experienced in my life, some religious people view it as a opposing like mindset, or psychology, or I don't really know, like it's like an opposing way to think other than their faith, their religion. But I
Yeah.
think in a lot of ways it's almost symbiotic, like it can work together, and that's how the healthiest, um I guess, relationship can exist between the two.
I think it's like, I don't think self-help is necessarily, I think it depends what you mean by self-help. I think like, I think it's, the term is like loaded, right?
Yeah.
So I think some people would come to think of it as like self-reliance. Like I don't need God, like I'll do everything on my own.
That's, yeah.
And I think that, I mean, that obviously I think is it, that would be unbiblical. But if you're saying self-help as in like empowering yourself to realize like you have a choice to do like the right thing,
Yeah.
or the bad or the wrong thing. You have the choice to do that, right? Like nobody's forcing you to do that. You know what I mean? So I think in that sense, I think if you call that self-help, then I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I guess what we
Yeah.
mean by self-help is like
Yeah.
like just ways to have healthier thoughts, or like approach challenges in life with a better mindset, or have better relationships. Like that's kind of like just things to help you get better as a person, not isolate you from religion if you are religious. Not be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm fully self dependent outside of with these kind of mindsets and stuff. It's symbiotic. It's like I have to do the work to become the best person I can be, and yeah, and God is with me on my journey, and will guide me in areas that I need to improve and walk or change my viewpoints on. And yeah, it's like it's a blend, right? You can't like at least this is how I view it. You can't expect God to make all the improvements and changes in your
No.
life. Like you have to do the work
Yeah,
as well.
I don't think God's like I don't think God wants you to be passive and just like
Exactly.
lay in your bed all day and like he'll just bless you. Like you still have to get up and do, like you still
100%.
have to be the type of person that he wants you to be. Right?
I that's how I view it. God helps those who help themselves. You get what I'm saying? Like not to say that you're only self-serving. That's not what that quote is meant to be. But
Yeah,
the main idea behind the quote is that people who take the initiative to improve their lives and how they are, in a symbiotic way, with at the same time believing in God and His greater plan, those are the people that get blessed with opportunity, which is what I believe.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But it's, I think it's also, it's that, and also like recognizing also like when you do have limitations, or like when you do, when there are moments where you realize you can't do this on your own, and actually like surrendering it. And surrender doesn't have to be passive. It doesn't mean like you do nothing about it, but recognizing that, look, I'm not in control of my situation fully.
Yeah.
I think this is something I don't know if I can get through, and like inviting God and having God's grace work in your life, and not just so I think you're right. It's that balance, and that balance can work. But then if we take it too far to one end, then you do see that kind of incompatibility.
For sure.
But then I was also reflecting on what you're saying about like successful people, like I mean, obviously there is an element of luck or chance or whatever. But I think you're right. Like there are sort of consistent or reoccurring themes or things that they do that that do seem to be repeatable.
Yeah.
And I think that is useful as well. Like we're not saying like there is value that you can extract from these people.
100%.
But then again, it's like it's just about that nuance of like remembering that it's not black and white, right? It's not like pure absolutes.
It's not copy paste. You have to run it through your own filter.
Yeah, and your own personal circumstances too, right? Like
yeah.
it may work in better for some circumstances, but maybe adapt that value and try to work it in your own circumstances in a different way, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, lastly, let's talk about how the self-help industry actually works, right?
Yeah.
Because if we really think about it, if there is a step-by-step formulaic guide that you can follow and you'll be successful, then surely these self-help podcasts would maybe be 10 episodes. Yeah. And that would be it, because you'd do it and you'd be successful. So there is... The video is talking about this, about how the self-help industry actually fundamentally relies on you not being successful. And that is actually how they make profit, right? They're capitalizing on you needing to come back to learn more, to continue to try to be more productive, try to optimize your life, because that's how they make money. Yeah. So what do you think about that? What do you think about like this?
So I like disagree with this statement.
Okay.
Because I think that like it's like you said, it's not ever going to be simple or like easy to improve your life, right? And I don't think like there's just like one blueprint, like, oh, if within 10 episodes like they can get everything that you need to learn out and then you're basically good. Like I think self-improvement is like a constant process, right? And it's like yeah, you'll never be like fully maxed out perfect. You get what I'm saying? So there's always like areas that you can learn new perspective on. Maybe you've watched a lot of content on how to have healthier relationships, but there's a specific person with a specific viewpoint or specific perspective because they've lived a similar life experience to you that connects with you. And maybe that comes after watching the 20th or 100th video on how to improve your relationships. And that one is the one that makes a difference. So I view it as a process. It's not like I don't view self-improvement as like a final destination, like, oh, I've reached here, I'm good now. So with that kind of mentality, I feel like there's always a need for more perspectives, for more information, for more potential ways to refine how you think. So I don't think that they almost like need you to continue being imperfect. I think we're always going to be imperfect, so there'll always be a need for this kind of content, if you get what I'm saying. But what are your thoughts?
But do you think they're selling the idea that you could be though? Like, and that's kind of what hooks you. Or yeah, I mean, I don't disagree the fact that we are imperfect. Yeah. But do you think, or I guess like it could just be a marketing strategy. I mean, but like they always say like, do this and you'll change your life, or like do this and you'll improve your sleep instantly, or 5 quick fixes or 5 quick tips, implement this and you'll be able to start your own online side hustle or something like that. So I think it goes back to that idea of like trying to make things formulaic in a way, or like trying to give the hint that like, oh, like if you do this, then this is how this is how it works. But then like it doesn't really work because they're misleading you, because it's not, it's like you said, it's actually complex, right? It's more complex than that. But then it like, because it didn't necessarily work, then like you just keep coming back, but then they still keep giving you that like carrot on the stick, right? They're like dangling it in front of you, like, no, but like just try this though, like try this one, like, or try this other expert.
I see what you're saying, and there probably are definitely like people like that who kind of sell their actual idea as like, oh, this is the only way, or like this has to improve your stuff. For sure that, and those probably are people that sell courses and stuff, right?
Probably.
But I don't know, maybe not. But in terms of like, I think what you mentioned though, like the
selling stuff inherently bad though. What do you think about selling online courses that like?
I think like if you're genuinely putting information or wisdom that you've learned from your life that you've drawn value from into a product, and you're at the same time acknowledging that this is not going to be the only way.
Yeah,
I don't think it's an issue, because I think it's still, there will still be people who draw value from it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I think sort of maybe like where we kind of disapprove of like maybe the industry is like the way they're maybe marketing it. Like they're marketing themselves as like this is the way it has to be done. Like maybe speaking in absolutes.
Yeah.
But then like I mean, again, like we're saying, like these people do have value, right? It's not like these experts don't know what they're talking about. There is stuff that we can learn from it.
I think the overall danger is like when they, in the main content, they present their view as like being the only view. But there's a bit of nuance though, because like with the stuff you mentioned, I noticed it sounded a lot like its titles, like YouTube titles.
Oh,
which does bring into question like clickbaity stuff, right? Like to get the click, which is like, I don't view as inherently wrong, because like it is something to like, you need to entice people to click your video, right? And like as long as you're in your main video, you're not like like carrying out your point as if like it's the only way, then I don't know if it's necessary. It's almost like part of the game, right? To get the click.
This is good. This is gonna be interesting. I mean, this is also very self-reflection, self-reflection.
Yeah,
but
because we have been doing a little bit.
We're trying
on the clips.
But this is interesting though, and I think maybe we'll touch more on this next episode of the Manosphere. But that's also what they do though. Like they post content, or they post things for the sake of the algorithm.
Yeah.
And they purposely mislead you in a way. And is it ethical? Is it right? I don't know, dude. This is a rabbit hole. This is a rabbit hole, I think.
At least how I view is that it's like, it's content, right? It's entertainment. So you want to put something out there that people see, and it entices them. It creates like a emotional reaction in them. They're like, or it sparks a debate in their mind, or a question. They're like, wait, do I agree with these guys? Or wait, that's a take that's like not aligned with how I view it. So I want to view what they have to say.
Yeah.
So I think as long as the main content is something of value and something that allows for nuance, then I think that at the same time, in order to
that is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say something, but I realize like we low key doing this ourselves. Yeah. Okay.
Say it. I want to hear.
Okay. It's like but we also want to think about like, because I'm just linking this back to the Manosphere thing, like because a lot of them were talking about how like it's not my responsibility that I'm posting or I'm saying these things. It's the audience's responsibility to interpret that their own way, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and some of them, I think, like, it's not my fault, like, these 13-year-old boys are watching my content and thinking, like, exactly what I'm saying is, like, exactly true. But you do have that responsibility, though. Like, you are sending a message when you title it a certain way. But I'm just saying, like, now that I've thought about our clips as well, we do have some clips where we're, like, we do have some clips, like, that are very, like, at least like how we title it. Like I think in our actual discussions, it's like it is nuanced. I think, and I think if we want to bring this back full circle into how this discussion was sort of framing, like our own self reflection on where we want to take core life conversations. I think like I like the direction we're heading, where it's conversational. Like I think we were inspired a bit by Diary of a CEO or Modern Wisdom and these sort of these type of podcasts, but I think we both like the idea of keeping it conversational and keeping it as a platform where we're not saying this is how you should do things. We're really just discussing our own ideas, and if there's value, if it's relevant, then take something out of it. If not, like, I mean, come argue with us in the comment section but we're not by any means saying we're right. Yeah, we're not trying to alienate or cause hate towards it. Oh, but I while you're saying that, I found where we can operate in and where we operate in. Yeah. We can optimize our titles, our content to optimize to drive conversation
and debate and curiosity,
but never to the point of being absolute.
and also never to in a way to inspire negativity. Because when I was coming up with a clip title previously,
Yeah.
It was like there was two options, right? And the first option was, and we'll be specific with this, but we were talking about
We're trying to keep it real.
yeah, we were talking about personality traits in the clip, and our discussion was definitely not in a way stating that being introverted is potentially a bad thing. It was not about that, but potential idea for the clip title, which would probably be clickable, is that why being introverted is holding you back. And I was kind of debating it a little bit. I was like, that would get clicks, but it's almost like perpetuating this idea just off the title that being introverted is a bad thing, and I don't want people to view that and
could be misleading.
And think bad about themselves and stuff, especially because that's not even what our point was. So I thought of a different way to kind of label it, and I if I'm remembering correctly, I went with why self-labels might be limiting you.
That is much better, I think.
Because it's more
and you're saying might as well.
And it's a nuance, and the main point of that is to inspire like conversation or debate or a question in the viewer's head, rather than a negative association or a negative. So I think we'll always try to lean more towards positive and just kind of inspiring conversation and debate, or like a interesting question. And we'll try to do the best we can. Obviously we're not perfect, but
we're not perfect. That's what we learned.
Yeah, exactly. Guys. So I think that's a good point to wrap up this discussion. And we really appreciate if you've made it to the end of the video. If you found something of value, a like and subscribe would be, again, very, very motivating, very appreciated. Especially in these early stages, like any like, any subscribe, it really helps. Just motivating, and it's nice to have some like affirmation that like something of value was said in this conversation. I guess we always try to bring the question and the conversation to you guys. So we kind of want to pose this question, and if you guys are interested, leave a comment. We'd love to read through them and respond. But our question would be: is there any self-help advice that is very, I guess, mainstream or common, or I guess mentioned a lot, maybe even that you personally have found not to be applicable in your life, or not useful in your life? We'd be really interested to hear that, and it could spark some interesting conversations in the comments. Guys, we really appreciate you guys sticking along if you made it to the end, and we've got exciting ones coming up next week.
I can't wait for that one.
Take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.